what took our attention really when we were doing our research was that you were a stammerer, an extreme stammerer, how you described yourself in one of your talks. And I would like to understand that type of person in general, socially, talking to people. How were you, you being a stammerer? How did you conduct your conversations in general? Before we got to da'wah, how did you...
Since the time I remember,
Yeah.
since the time I can remember, I was a stammerer since childhood. Since the time I can remember, I used to always stammer when I was a childhood. And anyone asked, what's your name? I said, my name is Zakir. And I remember while stammering, I have to even jump many times. So if I jump, the lock opens up. So that's Zakir. So it was many times I remember when I used to stand below the doorknob. And if I'm saying my name is Zakir or answering, and when I jump, I get a bang on the head. So that happened quite a few times. So I was a stammerer which was on a high level. So much so that in school, there was a subject called as public speaking, where the teacher used to give me PF. PF means pass-fail, since you asked me about the school. So there's a grading, A, B, C, D. And then after that is just pass, and one is pass-fail.
Mm-hmm.
Pass-fail means on the borderline, and that was mainly due to maybe out of pity.
Miskin.
Miskin, yeah. Miskin is, yes, needy and weak, but out of pity, they say pass-fail. So I remember since, from the low grade to up to high grade also, whenever this subject was there, public speaking has to get pass-fail.
But you were really good in mathematics in school.
Yes, alhamdulillah. Yes,
what was it about mathematics that attracted you and you were able to excel in mathematics?
I was good with numbers, and that was my favorite subject, mathematics. And one thing in mathematics is crystal clear, right or wrong. There's nothing gray area. So mathematics is something which is crystal clear. So I like that subject. And the answer is accurate. There's nothing like, right or wrong. There's nothing like doubtful. And so therefore I was good in mathematics and with numbers and with calculations. Without the computer I could get or without the calculator, sorry. At that time, computers weren't there at the time in school. And I was good with maths, and in that subject, most of the time I used to get the award for mathematics. I used to get the prize.
Logic. It was a lot of logic in mathematics.
Yes.
Okay, so after high school, you decided to pick medicine. What was the reason behind? You had so much you can pick. You were doing well, exceptionally well in school. You had high grades, but you decided to pick medicine. What was the reason behind picking medicine?
Number one, the main reason was at that time I thought that being a doctor is the best profession where you can serve humanity.
You thought?
Yes, I thought. It was the best profession. Now it's different. Now I feel differently. At that time, I thought medicine was the best profession where you could help human beings as a whole, number one. Number two, because my father was a doctor, my parents, especially my mother, she wanted me to become a heart specialist. And number three, at my time, and even today to a great extent, the best profession in the world at that time, even now to a great extent, it is being a medical doctor. But the main reason was to serve humanity. Then secondly, my parents also wanted the same. And third, the most highly sought profession, or people craved to become a doctor because that was difficult and the marks required were the highest.
So that brings me to a question where your relationship with your father, rahmatullah alayh, he was an inspiration for you in a way, for you to become a medical doctor.
Yes.
What was your relationship in general with your father? Was it a close relationship? Did he just inspire you on a career level, or did you look up to him in general?
My father was a very busy person. Besides being a medical doctor, he was also a person who was involved in social activities. And he had many social friends, so he was extremely busy, but he gave time to us late in the night, etc. So he did give us time. So because of that, and he was very charitable, though he came from a very poor family. He didn't have money to pay the fees of his medical studies. So he used to, in the morning, deliver milk and earn a small amount. He used to deliver newspaper. And I'm proud that my father was so poor, and yet, mashallah, he used to, so much so that he could not do post-graduation initially because of lack of funds to pay the fees. So he did the post-graduation later on. He was a psychiatrist. Yeah. And he became the first Muslim psychiatrist who was the president of All Over India Psychiatry Association. But even though he passed his MBBS, even though he was poor, He always was very charitable. And then Allah, mashallah, blessed him and his medical practice became booming. And whenever though he earned a lot of mashallah, we had no problems after he became popular. He used to always give free medicines to the poor, help the poor. And he was involved in many social activities. He was involved in, laying foundations for schools, for colleges, for orphanages. He had his own charitable organization and he was involved in umpteen, if you ask me the number, I cannot tell you, umpteen number of charitable organizations, either as president, as chairman, as secretary general, or as a board member, into various charitable organizations. So he was more for social purpose, so much so that he had contacts in most of the countries in the world. So when in our youth we used to travel to any country, he had some friend there, whether it be America, any part of the world, we traveled, touring the country, he had his contacts. So he was very well connected. And he became very popular. He was very well known. Like in Dr. Abdul Karim Naik, means people know. So, so I was known around as the son of Dr. Abdul Karim Naik.
So you were referred to as the son of Dr. Abdul Karim Naik?
Yes, that's it. And of course, later on, when I started doing dawah, etc., so he said, you see, now you were referred to as the son of Dr. Zakir, and now I'm referred to as the father of Dr. Zakir Naik, So that should come later on in life, but just in case that thing doesn't crop up.
Yeah. But I think what really... what I come to this point, and I think it's a very important point, and you also mentioned this point from a previous lecture for you that I saw, is that your parents never forced Islam on you in terms of they never told you you have to do it.
As far as Islam is concerned, alhamdulillah, both my parents were practicing, but they never forced at all, which I don't agree with them.
You don't agree?
I don't agree with them.
And
knowing the Islamic rules and all.
Yeah.
They didn't force at all. Didn't force, and of course they told you pray it's better. I feel they didn't tell that also. I don't remember. But they prayed 5 times.
Yeah.
They prayed 5 times a day. MashaAllah, they were practicing Muslims. They fasted very well. But so much so that I remember that the first time I fasted the full month was in 2nd standard, which wasn't a requirement. I think it was 7 years or 8 years between that. 7
You
years.
just wanted to do it?
Yes. So the first time I kept the full fast. I remember the first time I fasted, maybe I was in nursery. I don't know, maybe 3 years or 4 years. The first fast, a single day. I don't remember, maybe 3 years, 4 years. I don't remember. But I remember the first time I completed the full month of Ramadan, I was the only student in the full class that fasted the full month in 2nd standard, where I was, I think, 7 years or less than 7 years.
So that brings me to the point that your parents led by example. They taught you Islam by example, but from a totally different school.
Yes. They never projected themselves as being, very practicing Muslim, and they never forced anything. But they were good Muslims, of course, and honesty in their dealings, everything. So more of a practice, which is good.
Yeah.
But they never told me to pray. And I remember in the 2nd, 3rd standard, we used to pray twice a day, thrice a day. I remember one of the friends of my mother, when I went to, I think when I was in the 6th standard or 7th standard, when I was about 13 or 14 years, you could say, at the right time when I became an adult. A man becomes an adult, 14. So she told me, do you pray? I said, yes, I pray 3 times, sometimes 4 times, sometimes twice. So she said, son, she was my mother's friend, she was an elderly lady. She said, I'll give you an advice. That when you pray, when you finish your prayer, suppose you pray your salah, pray to Allah that, suppose you're praying Zohar, pray to Allah you don't miss your Asr. In the Asr salah you pray that you don't miss your Maghrib. In the Maghrib you pray that you don't miss your Isha. Isha you pray. That's it. Do it for 40 days only. That's my advice. I said, okay, no harm. So I did 40 days and then that became
the habit.
My habit.